What's up everybody, Straw Hats Are Cool here, and we are finally back with another video. I know, I'm alive! I haven't been uploading for a little while, and it's not that I haven't wanted to, it's more of just that life's been busy and I've been a little lazy. But I'm back, I'm excited, and I hope you're all excited too. Gonna try and I know I say this a lot, so maybe I should just save myself the breath, but I'm really going to try better about being a little more consistent with the uploads. We'll see how things go. I'm not going to make any promises, and at the end of the day, I know with this style of content, most of my viewers are here just because there's not a whole lot of creators who are doing One Piece card game content at I don't know, I guess a semi-decent quality. I'm not going to go out there and say my videos have exceptionally high quality, but I do my best and try to make content for you all to enjoy. But I know at the end of the day, not a lot of you are here for me. You're here just for One Piece card game content, and that is totally okay. So I'm hoping we can get a little bit more consistent with all that. So we're going to be taking a look at the PRB Sanji leader, Mono Red Sanji. It's a pretty interesting leader. But before we get into the deck breakdown, I just want to say, for those of you who have been waiting and still, subscribe to the channel and been supporting me, thank you for all that. I know it's been a while, and I'm sorry if I've let you down, but I'm back, and hopefully I can continue to make content for you all to enjoy. So thank you for staying subscribed and waiting for me. We're here and we're making more content. If you're planning to buy any singles or sealed product, especially for those of you who are looking to buy new stuff for PRB, do consider using my TCG Player affiliate link. Doesn't cost you anything extra to use it, and it's a way that you can support the channel just by buying something that maybe you were already planning on buying, maybe some of the cards that were mentioned in this video, who knows. Also, we've got a Discord. I'm going to try and start being more active in there as well. Links for all of that will be down in the video description. With all that out of the way, let's dive in. This is what you're here for. You're here for PRB Sanji deck breakdown and gameplay. Now, before I get into the deck breakdown, the inspiration credits for this list go to iCalici. I will link his channel as well as the video that inspired me to make this list. Now, iCalici is he's a Japanese player, but he does like English card game content. He does super high quality content, so be sure to check out his channel and subscribe to him if you haven't done so already. But because he is playing in Japan, he currently has access to O9 cards, so my list does differ a little bit from his in that regard. But I tried to take that list and put a little bit of a spin on it so that it is something we could use in our current 8.5 format. So this leader was just recently released in the premium reprint booster set, which released this past Friday. So if you've been opening any product for that, I hope you've had blessed pulls and getting all those new Alta Arts and Jolly Roger stamped foils that you've been looking for. So if you're planning to open any product as well, good luck with the pulls. But this is the only new card from the set. There's lots of new art, but this is the only truly new card that was introduced in that set. Is a mono red Sanji leader. It is a standard 5,000 power leader with 5 starting life, and he has the activate main once per turn effect that states up to one of your 8 cost or lower characters without an on play effect gains a rush until the end of this turn. So any 8 cost or less that doesn't have an on play, we can use his effect so that they can attack the turn they're played, as they will have rush. Really sweet effect, very thematic with what a lot of the red cards do. Now it might be a little weird because a lot of red cards already innately have rush, so this deck list in particular is going to be taking all the ones that have like good when attacking effects and activate main effects, so that we can take advantage of this leader effect. Now, I think you can really go one of two ways with the Sanji deck, and the way we've decided, or I guess iCalakai decided to try and build a list, was more of a control-oriented build. So you still got the aggression that you get from it, all your characters having the potential to gain rush as long as they don't have on plays. So you still get the aggression from that, but we've also got some pretty solid removal effects in here as well. I think the other option is just to play generally more vanilla statted bodies and just use those as big rushers and hope to rush down your opponent before they can, win the game. That is another option. I haven't tried that build yet. I haven't come up with a list for that, but I've been having a lot of fun with this more control-based build. I'll probably continue to play with Sanji a little bit though. For those who don't know, he is my favorite Straw Hat, and I'm excited that he finally has a leader that isn't total dog like the one we got in set 2. So that's our leader. That's what he does. Let's get into the deck list now. So we got 2 copies of the EB01 Chopper. This is a 3-cost 4,000 power character with 1k counter. It is a blocker, which can be nice if we need to be on the defensive, but he also has a really solid when attacking effect for 2 Dawn that states we can give one of our opponent's characters minus 3,000 power during this turn. And honestly, I might put this one up to 4, and we'll talk about what I would cut here shortly, but that minus 3,000 power really synergizes well with a lot of the removal effects that we're running, as well as just being a pretty solid blocker that we can play if we need to in the late game. If we're on the back foot a little bit, we just need to stall another turn. Chopper's really good for that. We've got 4 copies of Otama, still one of the more staple 2Ks for most red decks. Just really good utility with this one, being a 1-cost 0 power character with 2,000 counter, but the on play effect gives minus 2,000 power during this turn to one of our opponent's characters. So kind of like with the Chopper, just another way to reduce the power of our opponent's characters, which you will be seeing a lot of in this deck. We've also got 4 copies of the 2K Sanji from OP8.5. This is a card that hasn't seen a lot of play recently, but he is a 2-cost 3,000 power character with 2k counter. In an activate main once per turn, you may add 1 card from your life area to your hand. This character gains 2,000 power, and then you may give this character to Rested Dawn. So this card is also really sweet in this deck because with our leader being able to give our 8-cost or lower characters without on-plays rush, you can actually give this card rush, effectively making it a 2-cost 7,000 power swinger, as you will be getting 2 Rested Dawn and a 2,000 power buff, putting him up to 7 on his own, which is incredibly powerful. So he can often be a really nice piece in the late game if you've still got life left in order to allow you to close out the game, but he's also just a 2k counter. Additionally, as you are going to be rushing with a lot of your characters, generally I try not to rush on the second turn. That way my opponent's forced to attack in my life at least for the first turn. But if you're really trying to be more aggressive, this is also a way that you can gain access to those life cards if your opponent tries and starve you out, because you are going to have a lot of rested characters on your board. So also very good for that. But at the end of the day, just this being able to be a 2-cost 7,000 power swinger at the end of the game is exceptionally powerful. We are running 4 copies of Nico Robin. This is a 3-cost 4,000 power character, and one that a lot of you may not be familiar with because it really only saw play in OP8.1 and OP8.2, and after that it really fell out of favor. But it has got a Dawn 1 when attacking effect, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. So this is kind of what we're talking about. We're running a lot of these when attacking removal effects, Nico Robin being one of them. Not the best statted body, but it is a solid early play. and we'll talk about how it synergizes with some of the other cards in the deck here shortly. We're also running 4 copies of the OP8.5 Brook, which is also a card that hasn't seen a lot of play recently, but some of us might be more familiar with this one, as there were some red purple law players, especially early on, who were running this card in that deck. So he's a 4-cost 5,000 power character with 1k counter, and the Dawn 1 when attacking effect to give up to 2 of our opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. So again, in similar fashion to the Otama and Chopper, just another card that allows us to manipulate the power of our opponent's characters. Not only does this make them easier to attack into, but it also brings them within range of our KO effects like Nico Robin. Speaking of Nico Robin, we're also running 4 copies of Pell, who has a very similar effect to Nico Robin, only on a 5-cost 6,000 power body without counter. It's a Dawn 1 when attacking. We get to KO up to one of our opponent's characters with 4,000 power or less. So really just a slightly buffed version of Robin. Higher cost, but better stats. And the when attacking effect hits a 4,000 as opposed to a 3,000, which is really solid. Also running 2 copies of Lindbergh, and he's really just kind of like a bad version of Robin and Pell, as you need to have a character, or this character has to have 7,000 power or more to KO a character with 3,000 power or less. So very similar to Robin, only you essentially need to attach 2 Dawn rather than 1. And I was just running it as another way to gain access to more KO effects. I was not impressed with this card, but I just kind of wanted to round it out with kind of like the same number of reducers and characters that had the ability to KO and that sort of thing. But I would probably end up cutting these for more Choppers, because I was pretty impressed with Chopper. The minus 3,000 came up quite a lot, allowing me to KO things, even like a Gecko Moria at one point, which you will be seeing in the gameplay a little later. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, Lindbergh's not bad. He's just kind of like a backup version of your Pell and Robin if you need it. We're running 4 copies of Rise Max. A card that I'm sure if you've been playing since, if you were playing before Red Purple Law got banned, you're familiar with this one. It's a 1-cost 2,000 power character, and it has an activate main that allows you to put this character on the bottom of your deck, and then give one of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power. So again, just another tool to help us bring our opponent's characters within range of our removal effects like Nico Robin, Pell, and Lindbergh. Wapol is one of the all-stars in this deck. Was super impressed with this card throughout my gameplay. It is a 6-cost 6,000 power character with 1k counter, which face value seems pretty mediocre, as the stat line isn't great. But what really gets good is when you take a look at the Dawn 1 when attacking effect, which states you can give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power for this turn, and then give this character plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So while the stats are mediocre at first, what really kind of turns this around is that in a lot of ways it's effectively an 8,000 power body, as when you're attacking, you're going to be using that Dawn 1 when attacking effect, which is going to, not only with the Dawn on it, it's going to bring Wapol himself up to 7, and then he's going to get that additional 2,000 power buff, bringing him to a 9k attack, and that plus 2,000 power he gains does persist onto your opponent's turn. So he is essentially a 6-cost 8,000 power body, which is a lot better. And then you get the added bonus of also giving minus 2,000 power to one of your opponent's characters, which can bring them within range of characters like Nico Robin and Pell if they manage to stick on the board for a turn. If not, though, also just a really good character to be attacking into your opponent's bigger bodies if they are threats on the board. Him getting the additional 2,000 while your opponent gets the negative 2,000 makes it pretty easy to swing into your opponent's board and clear characters that way as well. We are also running 4 copies of the Secret Rare Silver's Rayleigh from OP08. This is an 8 cost, 8,000 power character, and it does have an on-play effect, so you will not be able to give this one rush with our leader effect, but the effect is strong enough on its own that it still warranted a spot in this deck. The on-play effect states that we may choose up to 2 of our opponent's characters until the end of the next turn, give one of those characters minus 3,000 power, and the other minus 2,000 power, and then after that you can KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. Important thing to note here is that you cannot stack the reduction, so you can't give minus 3 and minus 2 to the same character. It has to be minus 3 to one and minus 2 to another. So that was something I learned pretty early on while playing on the sim. Towards the beginning of OP08 when I was testing Marco. Did not realize that at first, so thought that was worth bringing up. But this is another card. It's got the removal and reduction all in it. So if you have a Pell on the board already, you can use Rayleigh to reduce something, reduce 2 things, KO one of them with his effect, and then use the when attacking effect of Pell to KO an additional thing. It's one of the really powerful combos you have if your Pell or Robin are able to stick on the board. And what's also really nice is those power reductions do persist on your opponent's turn. So even if you don't KO their characters, they're still going to have a harder time attacking with the characters that you've hit with Rayleigh's effect. I'm also running 4 copies of Beppo. Beppo is really just a bad Nico Robin, but he's also a 2k counter, so you're ideally not playing him out very often, but he does just give you another option to have a removal effect that you can give rush with your leader. So that's the reason we're running it. He's just another Nico Robin with terrible stats, but he has the added effect of being a 2k counter, which is pretty cool. I don't think I ever played it out in any of the games in this video, but you know, he was there just in case. Now I'm running 2 copies of this new Koala. It is from the most recent event pack, which is event pack volume 5. I've got one of them right here. I actually have one of the physical card right here as well. I only have one right now, so I guess if I want to sleeve this deck up and run it at locals, I will need to pick up one more of those, or just hope that the event pack I should be getting in the mail soon has another one. But it does the exact same thing as the Nami. These are like they are the same card, and because we're not running any search in this deck, they function the exact same purpose. They are both just a 1 cost 1,000 power character with 1k counter. And the activate main allows us to give Arrested Dawn to a character or leader. And if you've been paying close attention, we have a whole lot of characters that have effects that require them to have Dawn attached in order to use those effects. So having these is just a way to get, you know, more value out of our Dawn is really good. If you can stick 1 or even sometimes 2 of these, you feel like you're unstoppable a lot of the time. So really good cards. I think 6 copies between the 2 has been pretty good. And again, this is kind of, you know, like I said, based on Akalikai's list, who is also running, I believe, the same ratios. And lastly, we've got 4 copies of the Edward Newgate from the newly released Starter Deck 15. This is a 7 cost, 8,000 power character. It has an on-play effect, so again, this is going to be another character that we're not able to give rush with our leader effect. But on play, you get to give a leader or one of your characters a Rested Dawn, which is nice, as again, just allows us to do some neat combos because, like I said, a lot of our effects require that Dawn 1 or even sometimes a Dawn 2 to get their effect off. But then he has an activate main effect that states you can rest this character and KO up to one of your opponent's 5,000 power or less characters. In a lot of ways, this card is very similar to Jack, only for red. He's kind of just a body that can do removal, only this one's based on power rather than cost. And with all of the good cost or not cost reduction, play too many black decks, but with all of the good power reduction we have in this deck, you're often able to KO some pretty highly costed or highly powered characters with this effect, especially if things like your Brook or your Chopper stick around and you're able to drop something like a Rise Max or Otama alongside it. You can KO just about anything in the game that way. And then it's an activate main effect, so you can just do that every turn. You don't have to attack with him. You can just keep using him to remove your opponent's bodies, which is an added bonus. So sometimes you'll play out a new gate, you'll KO something the turn it's played, and then next turn you'll play Rayleigh, use his effect, reduce something, pursue something else, kill one of those things, and then kill the other thing with Newgate, which is a pretty powerful play. Now, like I said, these cards are pretty key, as sometimes one of the cool things you can do is going first. If you can play this on your first turn, you have the ability to swing with Robin and use her effect on turn 2, which is pretty powerful. Ideally, I don't think you want to be doing that play, as it does mean that your opponent is going to immediately have a character they can attack into rather than your life, which they will probably do, as it is not only controlling your board but also limiting the number of cards you have in your hand. But if you've got Sanji in your hand, you can use that to help replenish your hand a little later on. But as a whole, it's just kind of a very aggressive, control-oriented deck. We're going to be trying to apply pressure to our opponent's leader while also removing all of the characters that they're playing. And so far, the deck has been doing pretty well. One thing that maybe I should have mentioned at the beginning of the video is currently on the sim, there is no way outside of private games that I found, at least, to play in 8.5 with Sanji legal. So all of these games are recorded in the Eastern format. So we will be playing up against some of the OP09 leaders, and you will see some cards that won't be released until OP09 in the gameplay. But, you know, the deck's still holding up, and I wanted to build a deck that you guys could just pick up and put together and start running at your locals now. You know, Set 9 still doesn't release for a little over a month. So I wanted to give you guys something to work with until then. There are, of course, some other cards you could be running in this deck. And since I have been running in the 09, one of the big ones, and kind of what inspired Ikalakai to put together his list, was the Shanks. It's not a card we have access to yet. It will probably be released in like Event Pack Volume 6 if I had to guess, but really solid character. Allows you to filter your hand, which is really nice given that this deck doesn't run any searchers. So that's pretty cool. I also think you could be running this Jimbei in place of the Beppos, potentially, is just another way to gain access to power reduction, which honestly might be better. I feel like there were more scenarios where I needed power reduction, so that's definitely something to play around with as well. If you want more, you could still run things like Gordon, but for the most part, I've been really pretty happy with this list, and there's not a lot I would change right now, except, like I said, maybe cutting the Lindberghs and putting in 2 more copies of Chopper. That's kind of where I'm at with the list. But let me know what you've been trying down in the comments section below. But with all that said, I'm going to quit rambling. I know most of you are just going to skip past this anyway because you're here for the gameplay, but that is the deck list. That's what the cards do. That's how they synergize. All that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right into the gameplay. More purple, black Luffy. That hand's mid. This hand's a little better. Do they got the Zoro? They don't. I'm just gonna swing 5. I could play the Brook out first, swing 6, but yeah. What if they're playing finger pistol and my Brook gets blasted? Then we're sad. We don't want that. They can't Sanji us. They got the Zoro. Gonna get some Dawnage back. Hitting us with a 5, we'll take. And then a Frankie. Oh, so big. That's what we wanted. I don't know why you do that. Now we get to clear your board. Let's go. That's the combo right there. They must not have much counter if they took a block like that. Like blocking a 6 when your board is already behind. Well, I guess they didn't know they were behind. They probably thought they were ahead because they had 2 things. Or maybe they just wanted to put it in the trash so they could do this. Not a bad play at all. I can actually kill Gecko here because I can play another Brook. That's spicy. Oh wait, no, that doesn't quite work, does it? Darn. But if I play Chopper, it does. Then that's -5. Hold. I need 1, 1, and I've got 1 here. Yes. That's... can we go 7, 7, 7, 7. We need to do 3. Let's start with a 6. Start with a 6. And they block again. Okay. Now we chop. Unless they get a finger pistol trigger to kill our Pell. And they aren't even giving themselves that out. Holy hype. Look at this power. We're so in there. Kaido. That's cringe. Like, fair, I get it. They just want to kill everything, I guess. Eh. They counter out. Kaido's cooked. Oh, baby, we got him. Haven't seen that one played often. That's decent, I guess. Don -2 is kind of a lot when you've got a lot of other ways to use that effect, though. Man, that was sick. That was a sick game. Red, yellow, Sabo. This deck got a little support, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, we'll try the hand. I still haven't really decided what I'm mulling for yet. Robin's not bad. I'm just gonna preemptively play that out. That way, if they play something worth removing, I can do it with Robin next turn. They don't, we just play Robin anyways, I think. Yeah, probably just Robin. What do chop chop? Let's do a little chop chop. We don't want them to know we have the Robin yet. Don't want them to know. That way maybe they play around it somehow, because we already have the Rise Max on field. We did not hide that fact, so maybe it'd be a little better for us this way. Quite excited to just take this deck to locals and mess around. It's been quite fun. Okay, they got the Lindbergh. A 6K swing. I don't have a 2K, so I'm just gonna take it. Still no 2K. We can L. L is pretty good. Oh, they got an echo. Oh, Lindbergh's gone. Wish I had a 2K now. Wouldn't have been able to trigger that if I was at 4 life. But alas, we did not. I could attack and do our chop chop with that Neko. I don't know if that's worth it, but they could. You have to mention the possibilities. Right, there's one of the new cards. So yeah, this is not something you can play yet. Real and revolutionary type card from your hand on top of your life face up. And if you have 2 or more life cards, put the bottom card up. Okay, so you can kind of heal you. You're low. Aight. Okay, so they're gonna wing. That buff's a character, correct? So I want to block this. Or am I just gonna take it? I think I'm just gonna take it. Let them get their draw. No, no, no. I keep him. All right, now. Get him. Good, good. Now we can hit him with the old yeet. And delete. That's pretty good. What'd that do? Draw 2. That's pretty good. At least it's not a body. We're very ahead on board. Now we get to start slamming Rayleighs. I don't have a lot of counter, but I think I have enough that will be okay. And if they don't take out the chopper, we can also leave that up as a defensive play. But they are going to be taking something out here with the Luffy. They take out the Robin. I feel like you'd take out the chopper because he still combos with the Pell. I really want to keep the Pell here, but I think it's fine if he goes. Yeah, Pell was dead. Pell is dead. Take out that. Should be pretty much locked up, I would think. Excuse me. They are going to counter with a bunch of 1Ks. Let's swing 6 and see what they do with that. I get 2 more. Oh. We're just going for it. See, they got it. Oh, they got 2K. Oh, they got out. Alright. I got 9K counter and 2 life. I think I'll be okay. Unless they're playing a lot of blockers, I don't think they're getting out of this one. We can hit them with a Sanji rush special if we have a life left at the end. Nice little 2 cost 7K with rush. Pretty good. I guess I need to pick up my alt Rayleighs if I want to take this to locals, so I can't take a deck to locals if we're not going to flex out with alts. Some of you understand, I know. I also don't have, I only have enough chopper alts, but I don't know. Chopper could be anything, if I'm being honest. Koala is a, oh, it's a blocker. Okay. Well, I guess we don't even have to hit him with the Sanji Rush special because this is probably gonna do it. But just in case, we will leave ourselves the option for the Sanji Rush special. But yeah, we did not need that at all. That was a very, very convincing one for us. We just rocked everything they played with all of our Pels and Robins, and it felt pretty cool. GG's to our opponent. On to the next one.